according to these court filings, worked for 2 years as an undercover agent for the FBI and ATF, helping the feds.
To investigate Marion Knight and Death Row Records for racketeering violation.
Do you think Suge Knight orchestrated the hit?
Yes.
Kevin Hackey was an undercover asset for the FBI and ATF, who was assigned to infiltrate one of the largest record labels of the 1990s, being Death Row Records. Hackey's assignment was to collect information on homicide, drug trafficking, and the connection that its owner had with Compton Mayor Omar Bradley. Owned by Marion Suge Knight, US intelligence considered him as a threat due to his widespread connections throughout Los Angeles. Suge had connections to district attorneys, mayors, and police departments all throughout Los Angeles. Kevin Hackey was assigned to infiltrate the label in 1992, posing as a bodyguard. The record label had all their communications tapped, including their offices and personal, along with being under surveillance. In this video, we'll take a look into the undercover agent who infiltrated Death Row Records. Kevin Hackey was a former undercover asset of the FBI and ATF, who currently works as a private investigator. Kevin initially served as a police officer for the city of Compton, with his partner being Reggie Wright Jr. Reggie Wright Jr. was a former Compton police officer who was the son to Reggie Wright Sr., being the head of Compton's gang division. Suge Knight gave Reggie Wright Jr. $300,000 sometime between 1992 and 1993 to start Right Way's protective services. This protection company supplied police security for the label, and Reggie Wright Jr. became the head of security. Kevin Hackey was approached by the ATF to go undercover, as he was the former police partner of Reggie Wright Jr. He now began to investigate the alleged crimes of the organization. Suge Knight started Death Row Records with Compton producer and artist Dr. Dre in 1991, with financial help from convicted felon Michael Harry O'Harris and Compton drug trafficker Pat Johnson. Suge Knight pulled in over $100 million in the first year of operations and upward of $750 million in 5 years. Kevin Hackey was working undercover for the FBI and ATF to investigate homicide, drug trafficking, and Suge Knight's connections to prominent people. Kevin Hackey's investigation reported back to the FBI of Suge Knight discussing an arms trafficking operation, which was allegedly trafficking guns from Los Angeles to organized crime factions in New York and Chicago. Book Labyrinth, a detective investigates the murders of Tupac Shakur and b.i.g. Smalls, claims Kevin Hackey overheard a conversation where Suge Knight was trying to obtain and distribute assault rifles. The book also claims that Hackey said Death Row ran a money laundering operation which pulled in at least $80,000 a month. Suge Knight was able to avoid jail time for a long while due to his connections with mayors and district attorneys. Kevin Hackey's one main assignment was to investigate Suge Knight's ties to Compton Mayor Omar Bradley. Omar Bradley was the mayor of Compton during the early 90s, who was later sentenced to 3 years in prison on felony corruption charges for pocketing money which was meant for the city. Deputy District Attorney Lawrence M. Longo was a prosecutor who helped Suge Knight with legal troubles, and in return, Suge Knight was going to sign his daughter Gina to Death Row Records. Suge Knight, because of this, became almost untouchable during the early 1990s. The FBI were also investigating Suge Knight's ties to drug trafficking. The book Labyrinth claimed Blood gang members who were tied to Suge Knight were known to be pushing drugs on the street. Another trafficking operation was allegedly being carried out by crooked LAPD cops who were tied into the label. A police report by LA Detective Russell Poole claimed that police from the LAPD Rampart Division were working security for Death Row Records, being paid upwards of $25 per hour. Kevin Gaines was a Rampart cop who was found to have been dating Suge Knight's ex-wife Sharifa Knight. A police report filed by Russell Poole claimed people a part of Death Row Records were assisted by police with a drug trafficking operation by stealing drugs from evidence lockers, intercepting police radios, providing police escorts, and also setting up suitable locations to make meets. It has been alleged that the cops were used to falsely arrest rival gang members of Suge Knight's blood associates to make the drug market wider for them on the street. Kevin Hackey was later assigned to bodyguard artist Tupac Shakur in 1995. Tupac Shakur was an American rapper signed to Interscope Records who was serving prison time in 1995. He was released on an appeal after Interscope Records used his own money generated for the label to bail him out of prison and have him make music for Death Row Records for a free album deal. After being released in October of 1995, Kevin Hackey was assigned to become Tupac's bodyguard by Reggie Wright Jr. Tupac's artist Muhtar Bill, known as Napoleon, who was a member of Tupac's rap group The Outlaws, claimed in his podcast that Kevin Hackey would supply them with guns, which he believes may have been part of the assignment to keep track of them.
Back in the day, there was a guy named Hackey. He was a security guard. Come to find out, he was an undercover ATF. He was selling guns to us.
The ATF also done this in 2009 with the Mexican cartels under an operation called Operation Fast and Furious. This was where the ATF were purposely allowed to license firearms dealers to sell weapons to illegal straw buyers, hoping to track the guns to Mexican drug cartels and arrest them. With Kevin Hackey working undercover for the ATF, it's believed that him selling guns to Death Row Records may have been another gun-running operation. On July 4th, 1996, Tupac and his group The Outlaws were performing at the House of Blues in Los Angeles. Outlaws member Hussein Fatal was detained by an off-duty cop for the possession of a .40 caliber Glock. Hackey claimed after the weapon was confiscated, it had ballistics tests carried out on it and was run through the federal crime database to reveal that it was not connected to any crimes at that point in time. In the following month of August 1996, the Santa Monica Police Department contacted Kevin Hackey and told him that the gun was cleared for pickup. He retrieved the gun and took it to his superiors at the FBI and ATF, and they cleared him and told him to give the gun back to someone at security. Kevin Hackey later claimed to Fox News that he believes this gun was used to murder Tupac.
Hackey says he first showed the handgun to his FBI handlers. Investigators say it was a .40 Glock handgun that killed Tupac Shakur. Hackey believes the murder weapon was the same gun.
I believe it is.
Tupac and Suge Knight, along with the Death Row entourage, travelled to Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996. While there in the lobby of the MGM Grand, they got into an altercation with a rival Crip gang member by the name of Orlando Anderson. Shortly after midnight, while on the Las Vegas Strip, Suge Knight and Tupac were shot at in a drive-by shooting, which ultimately claimed Tupac's life. Kevin Hackey, during an interview with Bomb First, admitted that he was told by the FBI that wiretaps had revealed that something was possibly gonna go down in Las Vegas. The FBI removed Kevin Hackey from his duties on the undercover work on the day of the shooting and assigned him work elsewhere, not allowing him to bodyguard Tupac. Communication between Tupac's security was stripped by doing this, as Kevin Hackey, prior to the trip, had taken the radio off of bodyguard Frank Alexander, which was used for security. The last time Kevin Hackey saw Tupac, he advised him not to travel to Las Vegas. Kevin Hackey confirmed behind the entourage the FBI were tailing them, who had them under surveillance, and have pictures of the shooting taking place. When the Las Vegas police booked the shell casings and bullets into evidence, they were then sent off to the FBI for ballistics testing. Kevin Hackey claimed to Fox News that after being run through the federal database, the bullets matched the weapon confiscated at the House of Blues on July 4th. The day after Orlando Anderson was murdered, on May 30th, 1998, a .40 Glock was found buried in a backyard. It was found in the yard of a woman who was dating a person allegedly in the shooter's vehicle. The police sent the weapon to the ATF for ballistics testing, where once again, according to Hackey and other Compton PD, it came back as a positive match for the Glock, which was confiscated at the House of Blues.
Ballistics tests,
yeah,
obviously.
give it to the ATF agents. They say the gun matched on the murder of Tupac. It was a positive match on the casing.
Kevin Hackey later retracted these claims, saying that he had memory lapses. He was set to testify against Suge Knight in a 2005 civil trial, which claimed that corrupt cops were behind the murder of rap star Biggie Smalls, with Hackey willing to give the name of one of the police hitmen. However, he bailed on the court date and claimed once again that he had memory lapses. In this video, we took a look into the undercover FBI agent posing as a bodyguard for Tupac Shakur. He revealed a lot of suspicious information relating to the case, but he later retracted it all. Following Tupac's death, Kevin Hackey was implicated in a weapons purchase with the FBI, resulting in prison time for a few years. Let me know what your thoughts are on all this in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash the thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell button so you can get all the future notifications for when I upload. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.